Okay, so this year we've been funded to do a large piece of work on crime. We know that statistics show that if you're a student, you're much more likely to be a victim of crime. And it's absolutely right that NUS is working in conjunction with the Home Office to improve crime information that is going out to students. So we've been creating a website, doing some active campaigns, getting campaign teams out on a local basis to be going around and doing crime work, making sure that students are aware of the issues, making sure how they can protect themselves and giving them all the vital information. Hopefully in order to reduce the high levels of crime that students face and make sure they're safer whilst on campus they can enjoy their student experience.
Well, first and foremostly, NUS is of course recognised as the principal representation for students right across the UK, and our ability to engage with students all over in both colleges and universities was the primary reason why we were chosen to take this project forward.
The government was determined to do all it could to tackle crime in a recession, which we know historically tends to rise, and I attended a roundtable meeting with the then Home Secretary Jackie Smith, highlighted my concerns about the student community, the fact that students are disproportionately victims of burglaries, and there are simple steps that we could take as a student movement to better educate students, better protect students around the issue of crime. And thankfully the Home Secretary listened and we got a whole load of cash to invest in this project. I think most people know that NUS is the organisation that is able to access students and get things done. We're just as concerned about rising crime statistics amongst students as everyone else, and we wanted to make sure that students were doing all they could, even with simple things like locking windows, investing in stronger locks, better security, marking your items, really basic things that help the police to do their job better and help to keep our communities safer.
The key thing I think is getting some of the messages out there and working with students and student unions in particular to communicate through a variety of different ways to basically ensure that we're helping students to consider about how they can take measures that will ensure that they're not victims of crime. Well, we've had 2 national conferences. We've had a number of toolkits that have gone out to student unions as well. We've developed a website, The Lock, which has got loads of information on there, which is communicating in an accessible way to ensure that students, as I say, can take measures to ensure that they're not victims of crime. And we'll be doing a lot more over the forthcoming period to work with student unions to ensure those vital messages are getting out there.
Basically, a lot of the materials that have been out communicating crime prevention have been rather bland and a little bit boring in previous years. We set up The Lock to make it funky, accessible, cool, so that students utilised it and used it. So it's student friendly, it's engaging, and it comes on the back of 2 crime conferences that we've run and a number of communications that we've given out to students and student unions around crime prevention advice. So The Lock features video footage, it features news, it features crime prevention advice, all to try and engage students to lock the doors and basically be safe whilst they're at university.
Well, there's lots of things students can do, from highlighting problems and concerns around things like lighting or particularly like dangerous places. Students know where there are problems with crime in the community and they can help in highlighting those to neighbourhood watch teams. But also we could have students playing a more pivotal role, a more active role in the community to help crime prevention. So by setting up their own neighbourhood watch schemes, by having student unions having volunteers who go out into the community and working to identify problems that exist, but also making sure that we have a more cohesive relationship between student unions and people like the police. We can identify problem spots, but also ensure that more students are protected and are safe where they live. It's important that students don't feel like they are just a visiting member of the community, but they are somebody who is a resident, they have an equal say in the community, and that they're empowered to play a role in making sure that our communities are both vibrant, are safe and cohesive.
And really what we're saying to students is that you don't have to change your life, you don't have to do massive things in order to make yourself safer. There are some really, really simple things that you can do on a day-to-day basis that will change the way in which you live your life and will make you much less vulnerable. And that will leave you to have the best time at university and engage in your brilliant student experience.
Obviously we work with Ensley Insurance as well, and I think it's important that students insure all of their goods and belongings, but it's also important that we're good neighbours as well. If students are leaving their houses vulnerable, are leaving their windows open, aren't investing in the right security, it causes problems for everyone. So I hope that we'll be protecting our own properties and also working with our neighbours as well to help them protect their property too.
It's had had a massive impact already in such a short amount of time. From the crime project has identified, where are their problems. It's kind of put more solid research for NUS. It's made us be able to identify what programs could lead to a reduction in crime in the future. But it's also demonstrating that students do care about crime prevention, that this is something that's at top of students' agenda, and that students want to play a more active role in making sure that their communities are safe. So it's helped us identify good practice, it's helped us identify the gaps, but it's certainly given us ideas for what we need to do now as NUS and as the student movement to ensure that students are able to make their communities safe and prosperous for all.